The Enchanted Garden. Lila wandered to the edge of her village, where a thick mist clung to the earth like a guardian shroud, concealing the hidden secrets of an old, forgotten garden. She had heard whispers of this place in bedtime tales, a garden that granted wishes to any brave enough to step within its mysterious borders. As she pushed through the heavy mist, the air felt thick with magic, each step pulling her deeper into a realm that felt alive yet oddly silent. Flowers of every hue sparkled under the sun, their petals shivering as if they held tiny secrets, beckoning her with promises she couldn't resist. At the garden's center stood a single, twisted tree with roots spreading across the soil, its bark smooth and etched with strange symbols. Lila noticed a strange hum resonating from the flowers, a gentle song that grew louder the closer she got to each bloom's delicate, vibrant face. "Make a wish," a deep voice rumbled from behind her, and she whirled around to see an old man with a beard like silver moss. He introduced himself as Bram, the guardian of this enchanted place, warning her that wishes made here would come with a cost. Intrigued and only half believing, Lila closed her eyes and wished for a golden locket, imagining how it would gleam in the sunlight. When she opened her eyes, a golden locket lay in her hand, heavy and warm, as if crafted from sunlight itself, filling her with awe. She skipped back to her village, but strange things began to happen. The village baker couldn't find his ingredients, and confusion swept through the streets. That night, Lila lay awake, clutching the locket, wondering if her wish had somehow stirred trouble in her once peaceful village. The next day, she returned to the garden, where Bram waited with a knowing look, reminding her that each wish came at a price. Unable to resist, she wished again, this time for a beautiful dress that would make her feel like the heroine of her favorite stories. The dress appeared, rich and shimmering, but as she wore it back to the village, arguments erupted over scarce resources and petty slights. Everywhere Lila went in her new dress, people grew tense, quarrels breaking out among villagers who were usually kind and patient. Lila's friend, Jonas, questioned her, sensing that her strange new treasures held a power that reached beyond the ordinary. Desperate for answers, Lila visited Bram once more, who gently explained that the garden's magic reflected the heart of the one who wished. Lila's heart sank as she realized her own selfish desires had sown chaos, her wishes disturbing the balance of her home. A shadow moved in the mist, and a girl named Celia, who had always been envious of Lila, emerged with a sly smile, eager to make her own wish. Celia wished for beauty and power, and the garden complied, but her wish unleashed a terrible storm that swept through the village. Lightning crackled, winds tore through houses, and the villagers huddled, fearful of a force that seemed to strike without reason. Blaming Lila for the strange events, they turned on her, eyes filled with suspicion as whispers of cursed and wicked followed her every step. Lila's heart ached as she saw the destruction, wondering if any wish could truly bring joy when the price was so steep. As dawn broke, Lila fled to the garden, her dress muddy and torn, her golden locket heavy, like a burden rather than a treasure. Bram met her with a solemn expression, his eyes filled with understanding and a hint of sorrow, as if he'd seen this all before. He told her that the garden's magic was meant to teach, to reveal not just desires but the consequences of selfishness and greed. Determined to right her wrongs, Lila wished for peace and healing, hoping to undo the damage her earlier wishes had caused. As her wish left her lips, the flowers shivered, their petals glowing faintly, though nothing seemed to change at first glance. When she returned to the village, Lila found that the villagers' tempers had eased, their words softened, though the scars of anger remained. Celia, however, hadn't learned. She rushed to the garden, demanding a wish that would make her the wealthiest in the land. As her wish took shape, the ground trembled, and from the earth sprang a golden tree, its branches weighted with riches beyond measure. Greedy and entranced, Celia reached for a branch, only for the tree to twist away, leaving her stumbling in frustration. Lila watched as Celia's greed clouded her eyes, realizing that the garden's magic would offer nothing more than empty promises to those with selfish hearts. Celia returned to the village, haunted by the tree that eluded her, her bitterness casting a shadow over the peace Lila had tried to restore. Lila sought Bram's advice, feeling the weight of each wish and wondering if the garden's magic could ever bring true happiness. Bram explained that true contentment lay in giving, that selflessness was the only way to harness the garden's beauty without consequence. With newfound purpose, Lila returned to the village and wished for rain to nourish the fields, envisioning abundance for everyone. Dark clouds gathered, and a gentle rain began to fall, each drop bringing life back to the withered crops and hope to the tired villagers. The villagers marveled at the sudden bounty, unaware of Lila's quiet role, their smiles genuine for the first time since the chaos began. News of the enchanted rain spread, and people from neighboring villages came to see the garden, hoping for their own blessings. Lila felt a pang, wondering if they too would fall into the trap of wishing for selfish gains, repeating the mistakes she'd made. She noticed the flowers had shifted, growing brighter and fuller, as if responding to the purity of her new intentions. Lila knew then that the garden held its own wisdom, nurturing those with open hearts and rejecting those who sought only for themselves. Celia, still driven by envy, returned and wished for a power that would bend the will of others, but the garden only grew silent. Frustrated, Celia demanded more, yet the flowers closed their petals, their colors dimming, turning away from her outstretched hand. Lila watched, understanding now that the garden had grown wise to Celia's heart, denying her any gift that would harm others. In her final act of selflessness, Lila wished for the garden's magic to protect those who approach with kindness and to reveal itself only to the worthy. The flowers glowed brighter, their petals soft and warm, and a feeling of peace settled over the garden, a promise of harmony at last. Bram smiled, his eyes twinkling with pride as he acknowledged Lila's growth, the wisdom she had earned through her trials. Lila walked back to the village, content in knowing she had harnessed the garden's magic for good, leaving a legacy of kindness. From that day on, the garden thrived, its flowers vibrant and powerful, attracting only those who wished with pure hearts. Villagers spoke of Lila in hushed tones, some calling her a guardian, a quiet protector who had blessed their lives. Celia, however, faded into obscurity, her envy and selfish desires consuming her, a stark reminder of the garden's silent judgment. Lila lived her days in peace, never tempted by grand wishes, content to see her village prosper without the need for riches or fame. The garden became a place of sanctuary, where each bloom whispered of love, patience, and the strength of selflessness. New generations grew up hearing Lila's tale, visiting the garden with reverence, knowing its magic lived in the purity of their hearts. Lila never sought fame or recognition, happy to have found true joy and simplicity, leaving behind a legacy as bright as any flower. The garden stood, a testament to Lila's journey, its magic woven into the land, forever bound to those who knew the power of selfless wishes.